Oh, say, can you see? No, I'm not going to do that. Welcome to the Ryder Cup 2021 show. We are the Tour Junkies, DB, Pat. We are pumped. It's Ryder Cup 2021.
Let's go.
From Whistling Straits. We are ready to roll Team USA. Let's get after it. We're going to have a great show tonight, as always, presented by our friends at Fantasy National Golf Club. If you go to fantasynational.com/TJ, you can get all the things you need. If you bet on golf, you play fantasy golf, you do any sort of golf wagering, season-long leagues, whatever, one and dones, doesn't matter. Go ahead to fantasynational.com/TJ. That gets you 20% off any membership package that you want, weekly, monthly, annual memberships. Just get the whole year and have the rest, all the PGA Tour season. Just go ahead and do that. But we appreciate Fantasy National for supporting the Tour Junkies as always. Good stuff. Listen, we're going to have quick announcements. We're about to get right into it. Go to tourjunkies.com and check out the article by our boy Tyler McCutcheon. Wrote an article about the addictions of the Ryder Cup. He's addicted, and he took a very introspective look at it, at that addiction. And it's a good article. It's like a 7-minute, 8-minute read. It's free on tourjunkies.com. Check it out. It's pretty funny. But if you're handling Ryder Cup addiction and you're trying to, push through the rest of this week like us, go do that. And shout out to Tyler McCutcheon for knocking that out. He's going to be a contributor on tourjunkies.com, writing some fun stuff, not really betting DFS related, but just kind of.
I believe it's Taylor, actually, by the way.
Taylor. Did I say Tyler?
You're all about some Tyler.
Oh man. Wow. Well, we had a week off and it just kind of, I'm a little rusty. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, Taylor McCutcheon, right?
Yeah,
I get that right. Thank you, Pat, for keeping me on. And listen, after the show tonight, there's nothing else coming out this week. We are going to have some interviews coming up. We've got a Luke List interview dropping next week, probably. And we're going to be back for the Sanderson Farms preview on Monday night, the DFS show and the betting show. And starting next week, it's like 8 weeks straight. So you got 8 PGA Tour events that we'll be covering for the rest of the calendar year 2021. So you're going to want to check that out. But Pat, I am pumped and ready to go for tonight, the Ryder Cup. We are going to have just a tremendous show. We're going to talk very little bit about the golf course, the tournament, how everything works for all you basic noobs out here that are just now starting to watch the Ryder Cup. We're obviously going to get into some storylines, some takes. So we're going to talk about bets, a lot of prop bets that we like. I've got a number of those that we're looking at. We're going to briefly tell you what's going on DraftKings for DFS. And then at the end, this is what I really want to tell people to stick around for. At the end, we're just going to go ham. We only have this one show tonight, so I'm just going to start pounding the tequila drinks. That's what I have right now. I've got some tequila.
I'm already a little concerned that I don't have enough beers. Like, I'm going to have to probably leave the pod.
I'm going to have to take one too. Like, just with the one show, we can go deep with the sauce, because we don't have to do another 2 shows after this. So I'm planning on getting deep, and by the end of this episode, we are going to relive a few of our favorite moments from Hazeltine when we were there on site in Minnesota, as well as Paris in 2018 on site at Le Golf National. We've got some funny photos, some stories behind those photos, and a few videos and some stories behind those videos. And I'm just going to say, I
can only imagine what we're going to come up with here.
I'm just going to say Pat in Paris is great. Unfortunately, I'm not able to show you all that I want to show you, but I've got some good stuff.
There's a law. There's written law.
There is written law. Hopefully, I can add enough context to some of these funny things where people also think it's funny.
I think what I'm going to need to do, because I'm going to be laughing too, I think that I'm going to need to go from beers to some rosé at the end. Like, I think rosé is called for by the end of this podcast.
All right. Well, that'll be at the end. So let's get into it, Pat. First of all, what are you drinking right now? Are you drinking beer? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, a little Wild Leaf. They sent me the Coast West double IPA. I meant to get into this last week, but I didn't.
These new ones.
Yeah, 10%, man, 10% in this bad boy.
Praise God. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, by the way, a lot of people in the chat already commenting on our shirts. They're phenomenal. They're beautiful shirts. Yeah. We had these made in 2016 in preparation.
Another reason I'm wearing mine, because not just USA, but I feel like it's a good luck shirt to be wearing tonight.
Yeah, when we made these shirts, they won. And so we're going to rock these. Team USA, big old Golby on the front. These were our Hazeltine shirts. And I'm doing kind of a mixed get up here. My 2016 shirt, but my 2018 hat, the hat I got off of eBay, the Brookline Ryder Cup hat, signed by Captain Ben Crenshaw when they had the Brookline Miracle there. So I wore that in 2018 with the Brookline t-shirts. I should have worn that. Why didn't I wear that? I knew you were going to wear this. I should have worn the other one. Maybe I'll go change. Maybe I'll do that.
Yeah, do that.
Pat, why don't you talk a little bit about the golf course, just very little bit about Whistling Straits, the format, kind of how things work and the schedule and that kind of thing.
Fantastic golf course, by the way, Whistling Straits here in Kohler, Wisconsin, just north of Sheboygan, Wisconsin. Did I say that right, you think?
Sheboygan,
golf course, by the way, Whistling Straits here in Kohler. Whoops. Oh, okay, there you go.
Sheboygan.
Yeah, it is a par 71, 7,390 yards. You may remember I think it was a par 72 the last time they played a major here, but number 11 they have changed from a par, which was kind of an easy par 5 to a little bit longer par 4. So there's a little bit of a change there, but this is just a huge property. I mean, it's gigantic, a lot of hills. It runs along the shores of Lake Michigan. Just a beautiful course. It's kind of got a link style feel to it, which you might think would play in favor of the Europeans. And I do think there is some advantages they may have with some wind and weather that we may get this week, but it is definitely set up to be a Bombers course. And that's absolutely what the U.S. intended to do. That's what Captain Stricker and his team of whoever sets up the course wanted to do. They wanted to make it fit the Bombers better. You do have to control your ball pretty well around this course, into these greens, especially. There's a lot of slope, a lot of undulation. But the rough really isn't all that bad. I mean, I've seen videos of it. It's basically nothing. Now, if you go way offline, you're in some deep fescue crap. Yeah. But still, the Bombers are definitely going to have an advantage on this course. I mean, the first hole is a 360-yard par 4. I mean, wow. Bryson's just going to, spray it out there as far as he can, have an easy chip probably and make a birdie. So that's what you're going to see here. There are bent grass. It's creeping bent grass.
Creeping bent grass, which will kind of sneak up on you and be like, you could scare you.
Yeah, it could be scary. And so you got to look out for that creeping bent grass. But that's the course. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be set up well for the Americans, but could be, something sneaky there if the weather and the wind blow pretty hard. So that could backfire for the U.S. But there you go. There's the course preview.
Yeah, and so obviously you've got competition. If you're really new to this, starts on Friday, goes Friday, Saturday, Sunday. On Friday and Saturday, you have 2 sessions. You've got
That's right.
You've got 4 balls, which is where every player plays their own ball, and you take the best score of the team. And then you've got foursomes, which is alternate shots, 1 ball, and that's where things can really get hairy. I love foursomes, love watching alternate shot. And I believe 4 balls is what starts us off at 8 a.m. on Friday morning. We don't have the pairings yet. Those will probably be announced late on Thursday, I believe. So we don't have pairings yet, but we have plenty of prop bets that we're going to be taking down. Those are already up on a lot of sports books, DraftKings Sportsbook, PointsBet. So we're going to talk through those in a little bit. And then Sunday is all your singles matches. So you've got 12 singles matches. All the guys are going to go out. Everybody's going to play 1v1 U.S. versus Europe in all 12 matches. And that is where a lot of things can change quickly. And so currently the European Tour, or the European team, holds the Ryder Cup. So in the event of a tie, they actually get to retain the Ryder Cup. So the U.S. needs to win 14.5 out of 28 points in order to lift the trophy on Sunday. That's something to know. Very important to know. I think that's probably all we need to tackle there, Pat.
Yeah.
I do have to show this though, real quick. For those watching on YouTube, let me throw this up here real quick. We've got a couple of Nut Hut members. Look at these guys. There's old Jason. I think that's Jason Valet something, and Brian Halverson.
Yeah.
Longtime Nut Hut member. They're standing there right there at Whistling Straits this week, having a good time, looking like a couple of those guys look like Nut Hut members. Let's be honest. If we were going to have poster boys of Nut Hut members, that's kind of what they look like. So if you're wondering what the Nut Hut's like, here's Jason and Brian.
Just forging a new friendship.
Yeah,
on the shores of Lake Michigan in beautiful Whistling Straits.
That's kind of Jim Nance-ish there you had going there.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens in the Nut Hut. It was a Nut Hut meetup. They didn't plan on it. I saw them today. They were or yesterday. They were DMing each other or messaging each other in the Nut Hut where they're at. It was like a little nut hut rendezvous in the at old Whistling Straits. It's quite beautiful, quite beautiful. Pat, there's so many storylines with the Ryder Cup this year. Obviously, well, I guess we should go through the teams. Team Europe. We'll start with them. Let's talk about the rookies. They've got a few rookies here on Team Europe. You've got Victor Hovland, the stud. He's probably going to be a Ryder Cup staple, I believe. Shane Lowry, first Ryder Cup appearance, and Bernd Wiesberger snuck in there at the last minute. The three of those guys are making their first Ryder Cup appearance. Matthew Fitzpatrick, Tommy Fleetwood, Terrell Hatton, and John Rahm making their second Ryder Cup appearances. How crazy is that John Rahm's first appearance was in Paris?
Yeah, that is crazy.
That seems wild. Yeah. But so they're making their second appearance. Obviously, Rahm, best player in the world right now, doing the damn thing. Paul Casey making his fifth Ryder Cup appearance. Rory, his sixth. Ian Poulter, his seventh. Sergio Garcia, his 10th. And Lee Westwood, the old fart, his 11th Ryder Cup appearance, and that is Team Europe. It's a lot of veterans, and it's the powerful rookie in Victor Hovland, and it's not that strong of a team. They're obviously big underdogs if you look in the sports books, which we'll get to in just a minute. But other than John Rahm, it's John, it's Rory, and then it's a big drop off, if you ask me. So that's Team Europe. We'll get to them later. Also, I should have mentioned this earlier. Our boy Mark Hill, European Tour expert, is going to be joining us here in just a few minutes to give his takes on Team Europe, as well as defend why he thinks Team Europe is worth a bet or two. He's going to give us some of his favorite props. There you go. Now, Team USA, littered with first-time Ryder Cuppers.
Yes.
These guys have played in the President's Cup, but listen, F the President's Cup. You know what I mean? F the President's Cup. I don't care about your President's Cup experience. It's different. The hit's different when it's the President's Cup, okay? The Ryder Cup is a different beast. I realize it's match play. I realize all that. But I'm just telling you, I ain't seen nothing on the grounds of a President's Cup that is remotely close to what goes on at the Ryder Cup. The history, the beatdowns that have occurred from Europe to the U.S. in recent history. It's just, and the U.S.'s dominance of the President's Cup just makes it not that interesting. So I don't care if you've got President's Cup experience, but
I will say this. You will hear from me in a little bit. I will reference the President's Cup for one particular player.
Okay. I guess I'll let you do that. But listen to the rookie class in Team USA. First-time Ryder Cuppers. Daniel Berger, Patrick Cantlay, Bryson DeChambeau, Harris English, Colin Morikawa, Xander Schauffele, and Scotty Scheffler making their first Ryder Cup experiences. Also bananas to me that Xander is making his first Ryder Cup appearance. That struck me very strange. Tony Finau, Justin Thomas making their second. Two other guys who made their debut at Le Golf National in Paris when we were there. So Finau and JT. Finau played really well, as did JT in Paris. They were probably our only two bright spots there. You've got Brooks making his third appearance, Spieth his fourth, and DJ, the wily veteran, making his fifth. So the youth of the U.S. team is quite apparent right off the bat. Your most experienced player being DJ with 5, this being his 6th Ryder Cup appearance, equal to Paul Casey. But then the immense amount of experience with guys like Lee Westwood, Poulter, Sergio on the other side. So it's going to be really interesting. We come in young, and I think that's good for Team USA because we come in with not a lot of scar tissue, right? Like more than half our team has not had their peckers kicked in by Team Europe for the last decade. They don't have that. So I don't know. I think that's interesting. Pat, any thoughts or just takes in general on the team and how it all panned out from obviously Captain Stricker and Captain Padraig Harrington as well on Team Europe?
Well, I love Team USA. I think I like the fact that they have so many rookies, and
USA.
I agree with you that it's nice that they just don't have those bad memories that some of these other players. I mean, even somebody like DJ in his interview today, he mentioned the same thing. He thought that it was a good thing that some of these guys didn't have, like he said, the scar tissue, and I do believe that. I think that's going to be helpful. I think a lot of these guys too that are rookies, they have a lot of fire to them, I think.
Yeah.
Guys like Scheffler, you don't see that out of him a whole lot, but he definitely has that fire. English is a guy that has a lot of experience. When he played for Georgia, I mean, they kicked ass when they were getting into the team and match play type events. And so it's not like, these guys are just new to this and this team atmosphere. So I think that I like the makeup of the team. I think it's got a good mixture of folks there. And the European team, to me, is exactly how I think they would be. I do wonder if the play of going with more experience, like a Sergio and an Ian Poulter. Now, look, I know this is the European folks are just going to kill me for saying this because those guys are fantastic Ryder Cup players. But, Poulter hasn't been fantastic this year as far as his play. Neither really has Garcia. He's had some times where he's been okay.
Garcia.
So it makes you wonder a little bit about those guys. But I do think, but it's like this every year. Top to bottom, I feel like the U.S. team always looks better. And then the Europeans just come in and crush us. So we'll see what that looks like come Friday morning. I think Friday is a very important day for these guys. I think if you saw, like in Paris, Friday seemed okay in the morning, and then all of a sudden it just went to shit the rest of the time. And so I think Friday is probably, and there's definitely more pressure on this USA team to get out to a good start, because if they don't, it'll get even worse, coming into the weekend.
Before we get into kind of the internal things of this current team, I want to talk about a couple of names that are not here. And the first one is Captain America. R.I.P. Captain America. He obviously, this is well documented on the Tour Junkies podcast. If you've been listening for a minute, in 2016, Captain America, Patrick Reed, figuratively and spiritually, definitely not physically, kind of touched me on the tip of my loins on Sunday on the hallowed grounds at Hazeltine when he went head to head against Rory and he deposited into my soul that Sunday on number 1 to start. Mm-hmm. And then as the round went on, and I just felt that, and it was so strong, and it carried over into 2018 when we made the Captain America t-shirts and took them to Paris, and I may or may not have thrown them at Justine and his and her sister driving by on a golf cart, where he
have evidence of that. You did do that.
Yes, where he just completely crapped the bed the whole week and just didn't do anything. He nearly died a month ago, possibly in the hospital. And frankly, there's probably a lot of discussion as to whether or not he was even, whether or not people were possibly texting Captain Stricker, calling Captain Stricker in meetings with Captain Stricker and saying, we don't really want Reed on the team. We've got enough of a circus with Bryson. Obviously, Reed's comments after the Ryder Cup in Paris were no bueno. He threw Tiger under the bus. I think there was some beef with Jordan as well. Or no, it's because he didn't get paired with Jordan. He had such a good record with him. There were some words. He was mouthy to the press. So, this new U.S. team is really led now by DJ, JT, and Jordan. And you feel like Jordan and JT are going to be the ones in Captain Stricker's ear. And I could see a scenario where that's, just they may have asked for him not to be a pick. And it is kind of easy to make that decision considering the month, the illness he had a month ago. But life without Captain America is going to be interesting for me. Like, who's going to take up the mantle of being the guy that you feel like he's the hacksaw Jim Duggan, right? Of the U.S. Ryder Cup. He's out there with his 2x4 and his flag and his muscles and his, he's ready to roll, his big beer belly, and he's ready to pound some skulls. Who's that going to be? Because really I don't know that we have any of that. Like, Jordan hasn't done it because like Reed's kind of overshadowed everything, but like, who's the main driver of, do this for country? Because the U.S. has never really given you that vibe outside of Captain America. So who is that? Do you know? Do you have an idea? Is it Jordan? Is it JT?
I think most would probably say it's JT. Because I think that, JT does have that fire and he shows it a lot. I mean, Jordan does too, but But JT, I feel like for some reason is just the one that is extremely important to this team. But a sneaky guy is Finau. I think Finau, he just seems like he embodies America. I mean, Finau is he's a great dude. He obviously loves his country. He wanted to be on this team more than anything in the world, I think. So I think Finau to me is maybe the most important player. Now, he may not be the MVP, but I think he's a very important player for this team. If he does extremely well this week, I think he can be a leader as far as firing them up, for one. I think this is a team, though, that they've already said that they don't necessarily feel like they need a guy that's, rah-rah and whatever, the way Stricker handles things and kind of goes about his business. They just feel kind of an extra confidence with that. But for me, Finau is sort of the sneaky, just possible most important player on this team. Maybe not the MVP, but I think he's a very important player this year.
That's an interesting take. I don't know that I would, I don't know that I would fully back that, but it is an interesting take. You're going to hear a lot more about Tony Finau from me here in a little bit. The other person I wanted to talk about who's not here, and I want to address this, is Kevin Kisner. And some would also say Kevin Na. And I just think for the first time in recent history, our captain, probably with the help of the assistant captains, has made the right decision in leaving Kevin Kisner and Kevin Na off the team. As much as I love Kevin Kisner, and as much as if you talking about the guy I just talked about, if you're talking NFL, he would be like the locker room guy, right? The guy that fires everybody up, that brings everybody together, that brings a certain attitude about him. That is for sure Kevin Kisner. But as we saw in the flesh, face to face with Le Golf National in 2018, Pat, I will never forget walking up that hill when we had to enter after that ridiculous long freaking trek to get on that golf course, to get to that golf course. It was a logistical cluster bang in Paris. But after an hour and a half commute to get to this golf tournament and coming up over this steep hill, you could see nothing but the sunrise in the morning. Yes. Coming up this steep hill, and you come over the top of the hill and you see one in the distance with the big stands and all that. But I think it was number 17. It was a par 4, maybe short par 4, but it was 400 yards or 420 maybe. I think it was number 17. And I have never seen in person a golf course that had a par 4 whose fairways were that tiny. I remember looking at it going, wait a minute, is this a golf hole that we're competing on? It is literally as wide as a 3-lane road, like white line to white line, 3-lane road. And I remember on the first day, on Friday, I was there when they hit the first ball off the first tee. Pat wasn't there because he was hungover. More on that later. I remember thinking, wow, we don't have that many fairway finders on our team. And guess what? We got annihilated at Le Golf National.
Who was the player that played well? Webb
played well. Well, Finau played well, but he's a good short track bomber, right? Mm-hmm. But like we ignored course fit, and the Euros handed it to us in how they set up that golf course. That's something that if you don't know, if you're a Ryder Cup noob, you may not know that the home team gets to set up the golf course. So in 2018, they tightened the fairways. They grew the rough crazy. They tucked all the pin positions. They made it a course that suited the Euro game. In 2016 at Hazeltine, Davis Love set it up a certain way. And we heard from the Euros pissing and moaning in 2016 that we had the flags in the dead center of the greens, that the fairways were wide, that the rough wasn't a big deal. And it's set up for scoring, which is where the US is gonna do well. If it's a gettable golf course like Hazeltine looked to be, then we set up well. And then the Euros turned around and really punched us with Le Golf National. So from a course fit standpoint with Whistling Straits, we saw it host a PGA event not that long ago. Jason Day won it. We saw it host a PGA. It's a long, brutal course, and we know how Captain Stricker is going to set this up. He's going to set it up to suit the length and the distance and all the pop in the bat that we have with our deep roster. And Kevin Kisner and Kevin Na just don't. I just don't want to see him in singles having to hit a 4-iron when Rory's hitting 7-iron or whatever it may be. Like, it's just a big, big, big golf course, big ballpark. Kisner's on record himself on this podcast saying, I don't like the long, like the freaking freakishly long golf courses. He's on record of saying it. Would he love to be on the team? 100%. But I'm just saying it didn't suit well for him. I thought our captain's picks were spot on.
I agree, and I think going back to those fairways in Paris, my God, I can't even stress enough how skinny those things were. I mean, you made a good reference to the 3-lane, but I've never seen anything like that in person ever.
Yeah.
I mean, you walked out there and knew that this was a problem. This was a big problem immediately.
Yeah.
But you're right on the scoring aspect too. I mean, that's what the U.S. wants. I mean, they want, because if you look at the stats, I saw this actually, I think I was watching Golf Channel or something earlier this week, and they were bringing up kind of 3 major stat differentials between the Americans and the European team on average. And the scoring was the biggest one by far. I mean, it was the biggest differential. These guys that the U.S. has are scorers. They are birdie makers. They're not just out there plodding around and trying to make pars and do whatever and hit fairways and hit greens and get out of there with a par. No, they're trying to be aggressive and they're trying to score. And that's how they're trying to set up this course at Whistling Straits. Now, like I mentioned, the weather could change that a little bit, but still, overall, it should set up very well for them. But I'm with you, too. I don't think Kiz should have been on this team, going back to that.
Yeah.
I just don't think so.
I'll tell you what sets up well for me, Pat. We started talking about HelloFresh a few weeks ago. I started using it. Now I'm actually a full-time subscriber. I've been cooking some HelloFresh meals. I just had the unfried chicken with some mashed potatoes and some carrots. It was delicious. Fall gets really busy. Hey, you don't want to do meal planning and shopping and chopping and all that kind of stuff. You just want to get back. You want to take it easy. You want to do your thing. You want to watch football. HelloFresh takes care of you. You get a lot better value. It's 30% cheaper than shopping at grocery stores. You get pre-portioned ingredients that ensure that you don't spend money on all the excess stuff. It's super easy. I mean, I'm a good cook. My wife's a good cook. It's just so easy. Most of the meals take 30 minutes, maybe 40 minutes. It's actually kind of opening our palate a little bit. We're trying some new stuff, and I'm like, man, I'd like to have that regularly. It's so good. We're really enjoying it. So go to HelloFresh.com/TourJunkies14 and use code TourJunkies14, all one word, for up to 14 free meals, including free shipping. That is HelloFresh.com/TourJunkies14 and promo code TourJunkies14 for 14 free meals and free shipping. That's America's #1 meal kit, HelloFresh, and we thank them for sponsoring the podcast. Good folks out there at HelloFresh. And I'm serious. I love what I'm getting at HelloFresh. It's great. Pat, I want to talk about the kind of the aura, right? The moods behind the teams, right? That's a big thing. You got people that say Europe is this just group of just, well, it's like these guys are, they're like, they live together all year long, like they're on the cast of Real World or something. They're just the best of friends, and they have no problems, no issues. Team USA, cluster bang, a bunch of independent, selfish, just rock star mentality, egomaniac nut jobs that are having to come together for this 3-day event and make everybody think that they care. So you've got the Brooks and Bryson thing, you got all this stuff. I have 2 thoughts. Number one, I think this is just one of those. I think because this team, when I read the names on this team, a lot of these guys I find are probably very easy to get along with. Obviously, Bryson and Brooks, not so much. But I think for the most part, they're all really easy to get along with, right?
Yeah, I agree.
And they're all they're a lot of these guys are well connected. I see this event, regularly on the PGA Tour. These guys don't want to like give up too much, or they don't want to they may not want to let on that they're fighting something, or let on that they're anxious about something, or that they're intimidated or whatever. I mean, they're not going to do that. But did you ever go to youth camp, Pat?
Yeah.
And do something called the trust fall?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Did you ever do the trust fall? The
I've
trust
done
fall.
that. I've done that as an adult. You don't have to
Oh,
do
praise
that
God.
as a youth
Well, I mean, the
camp.
trust fall, you get like 6 of your closest, well, or sometimes you don't even know them, maybe strangers. And you basically say, "Hey, stick your arms out, and I'm gonna stand up here above you and like on like a ladder, and I'm not gonna look at you, and I'm gonna turn my back to you, and I'm gonna cross my arms, and I'm just gonna fall backwards. And I may break my back or bust my head wide open, but I'm counting on you guys to catch me because I trust you."
Yeah.
And I kind of think this is one of those weeks. It's like the trust fall week of every 2 years, if you want to count the President's Cup every year for the Americans. It is the it is the it's the 1 week where these guys can be vulnerable with
Yes.
other golfers that every other
Mhm.
week of the year they're killers and they got to hold stuff close to the chest, and or maybe they share things with one of these guys but not with the whole team. And so I think that could be, especially with these young guys that don't have all this baggage, these first timers don't have all this baggage, and they're just ready to like flip the script and say, you know what, US is used to getting their brains kicked in by these guys, but this is a new sheriff's in town, you know what I mean, boys, and we're gonna put our arms around each other, and we're gonna do the "we ready." We're gonna do we're gonna do all the things that you do to get hyped before, and we're gonna do the trust fall, and we're gonna be friends. And I think there's gonna be more camaraderie on Team USA than you would think. And you can't tell me that there's not issues behind the scenes on Team Europe. Like, you can't tell me that. Lee Westwood is a douche canoe. He's there's no way that all of these guys like Lee Westwood. Lee Westwood. It's impossible. They may fake it like they like him. Lee Westwood is a tool. I just don't believe that. And probably 6 of these guys are looking at Bernd Wiesberger and thinking, who let him in? So they're probably pissed he's even
They're
here.
one they're wondering, like, they had to introduce themselves to him.
Yeah.
A
Now,
few of them.
Sergio, he's softened in his later years. He's a wily veteran, but there's guys that don't like Sergio. He's easy to not like really easy to not like. Uh, so I just think there's probably going to be more camaraderie than we've ever seen with Team USA, and I think that's going to be beneficial.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
No, I agree. I think, maybe they're better at hiding any issues, but the thing is, when you have Brooks and Bryson and what's going on there, it's like, they're just the complete distraction, and there could be a little fight going on, a little skirmish going on in the corner of the European Tour, but nobody cares because they're just looking at the Brooks and Bryson thing, because those are the ones that are more polarizing and that kind of stuff. American players in general are also more polarizing than most of the European players. They've got more of a spotlight on them. I mean, you look down the list of these guys: a DJ, a Bryson, Brooks, JT, Jordan Spieth. I mean, all of these guys, tend to have a little more media scrutiny and, just attention than some of these European guys. And I think now more so you see the Europeans now that are playing more on the PGA Tour, um, do have some scrutiny, like a Rory, somebody like that. Obviously, there's a lot of folks that, especially with the Masters and things like that. But overall, I don't think it's just always, kumbaya in the European, locker room. But they do a better job of not letting any of that get out or trying to be too dramatic when it comes to that. But I do have some thoughts on some other aspects of what we're seeing here this week, and what seems to be being put on the U.S. or some, I think, common misconceptions.
Okay.
But I think we got a guest. Do we need to bring in the guest now, or do we want to go with
Uh, I think I want to hear about your misconceptions real quick before we bring Mark on. I'm happy about Mark.
Okay, well, Padraig Harrington's the captain for the European team.
Yeah.
Okay, he had some comments yesterday. Now, look, he's just answering a question. Okay, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt here, but I think he underestimates a little bit the fire and especially the feeling of being a part of a team that the US players have, because he basically said, well, us Europeans, we just really enjoy being part of a team. And, Shane Lowry thought that he might be I can't remember what team he brought up. I think it's maybe a rugby team. And then he was like, okay. And Sergio thought he was going to be a footballer. Because soccer for you folks here in the U.S.
Okay.
What is we're the USA? Okay,
The USA.
we watch college football like we're religiously. We grew up with that. We grew up with the NFL. We are all about team. To sit there and say that American players or people in general are not about teams is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. Now, I'm putting a few words in Padre's mouth, but what I'm saying is that we are all about team here, and every single one of these players are playing an individual sport, not just everybody wants to say, well, the U.S. players, they're all individuals. Well, so are the European guys. They're all, like you said earlier, with these guys, they want to beat each other's brains out every week. They're not playing as part of a team except for once every 2 years, or if they're playing in the President's Cup once a year. I don't think that the team thing is a problem. I really don't. I think all of these guys enjoy being a part of this team. They want to be a part of this team. They want to win. They would not be the players that they are on tour if they didn't have that drive to win. I just don't believe that. I think it's sort of a cop-out media, whatever, to say that. Now, the problem is, too, you get people like Brooks that add fuel to the fire by saying, I think, because that was what brought up the question to Harrington, was that it was talking about Brooks in his article saying it was an inconvenience or whatever he said. I believe wholeheartedly that these guys love being a part of this team, that they want to win as bad as anybody. And so I do not agree with this whole assumption, or whatever you may call it, that Padre seemed to kind of throw fuel to the fire on, that we don't enjoy being a part of a team and things like that, because that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I mean, I guarantee you, Justin Thomas, who's a huge Alabama fan, grew up watching sports and team sports and wanting to maybe play for Alabama or play for his favorite NFL team or his favorite NBA team or whatever. So you just cannot tell me that that's not ingrained in our hearts and our way of living in the U.S. We love team sports, and we are all about team. So I just disagree with that.
And I just think with 7 first-timers and then 2 more guys who this is their second opportunity, this is a whole new ball game. Like, the entire U.S. team makeup has been completely altered. We don't have the old veterans and the Phils and the the Furics and we don't have those guys here. You don't have Tiger, who's an interesting dynamic. I mean, God. Now, Tiger's Ryder Cup record wasn't incredible, and he was the most probably self-centered guy on the entire planet for when he was doing his thing. So it's interesting. I guess at this point we should bring on Mark to defend Team Europe and possibly rebuttal these takes here, and also give us kind of his thoughts on Team Europe and some of his favorite prop picks. So everyone, please welcome, for the second week in a row, our boy Mark Hill, the new host of the European Tour Junkies podcast that's gonna drop next week. What's up, Mark?
What's up, TV? I'm going to try and not be a douche canoe and rock Team Europe here. Yeah. But if I'm a douche canoe, so
do I not get a welcome? Do I don't get a welcome?
What's a?
There's some statements being made here, which maybe I will be a douche canoe at the end of this.
Yes.
What's an equivalent douche canoe word there in Northern Ireland where you are? Like, what's a word you'd say that we wouldn't say here when you really want?
You're really pushing me here.
You're talking about Bryson or something.
I can't say it. It would be an expletive. I think it's a term that would still be used in the US, so I'll leave that out.
Okay, well, if you think of one that's not like that,
if it's one that could get us canceled, don't say that.
Like I remember our boy Baldo, Stephen Bowditch, told us about an Australian word. It's sook. If you say sook to an Aussie, that's a really bad word. I don't really know what it is, so don't cancel us for that. But I'm just repeating it like. My mom always used to say, don't repeat it if you don't know what it means. But all I know is it means bad stuff. But something like that. If you think of that, I want to hear it.
It's 2:30 in the morning here, and I'm really trying to think about Northern Ireland slang words, and it's not coming to me at all. So, yeah, sure.
Mark, we're excited that you're joining us. I know next week you are going to be putting out your own content on the Tour Junkies YouTube channel and podcast channel for the Alfred Dunhill Links from St. Andrews, the old course, correct?
Not one, not two, but three links courses involved next week. So yeah, it's one of those fun mixes.
Oh!
But yeah, trying to dig into the links data at the minute, trying to see how we approach next week, and maybe we'll have a little European team.
So wait a second.
With
Wait a second here. The European, I've never seen that the European Tour does what we do over here, which drives me crazy with the 3 course events.
I think the links aspect of it sort of gives that different vibe where, it's 3 historic courses. It's the old course, it's St. Andrews, it's Carnoustie as well. You're bringing in some very
I do remember about this
prestigious courses. It's usually played as a pro-am as well for the first 2 days, which,
oh God,
so
slow.
Yeah. We can thank COVID for probably cancelling that, although I haven't heard for sure. But yeah, Justin Timberlake and Justin Rose, I think, were the team winners the last time. So yeah, there's lots of little nuances. But it's to be fair, it's a fun event, and usually the cream rises to the top come the end of it. So hopefully we'll pick a few bits next week that will stand out.
Nice. Thank you. Thanks for that, Mark. We're looking forward to that. And Mark's been active in the Nut Hut. So if you're in the Nut Hut and you want some European Tour intel, picks, thoughts, Mark's been in there as well. All right, man. So you've heard our rants. You've heard our American optimism. Now give us the all the reasons why we're going to be disappointed come Sunday evening.
Yeah, well, you should win. Yeah. The pressure is on you, though.
That's the problem.
The pressure is all on the US team. Like, Europe can ride up here and maybe get a miracle at Medina type, try and come in here. No pressures on us at all. Go out there, better captain probably on paper as well. There's a few bits and pieces. So, I am narrative fitting a little bit when I go over a few bits and pieces here. I am clutching at straws, but it's a 2-horse race. Someone's got to win, someone's got to lose, and everyone likes the plucky underdog at the end of the day. So hopefully Team Europe could deliver on that side. So the one thing I'm going to touch upon first is experience. And yeah, it's going to be the narrative hit on every airwave that you're hearing this week is the US team experience, or sorry, the Team Europe experience over the US experience. But it has to be an advantage. It has to be an advantage. And like 25.5 or 25.5 is Sergio Garcia's score in Ryder Cup history. And that's the combined score of the US team history. Something like that stands out like a sore thumb. You can bring in these rookies, the enthusiasm, the excitement, but at the end of the day, I would rather have what Padraig Harrington said is if you're going on the road for an away trip or an away game, you want the experienced guys to stand up, and that's what I think will be delivered come the weekend. 4 of the top 5 most experienced here are part of Team Europe, and Garcia, Westwood, Poulter, and McIlroy. I touched upon Sergio Garcia. Like, I'm loving him this week. I really think it could work out well for him. I think he's going to tee off first come Friday morning as well. So I have a lot of hope in Sergio. I have a lot of hope in the up-and-coming rookie and Victor Hovland, or up-and-coming. He's obviously established now. There's a nice little blend of the team. Yes, I touched upon it last week where there is guys out of form. But, like, to be fair, I don't think this tournament's going to be won on strokes gained data. It's not going to be won on recent form. It's a one-off exhibition. It's something that's a little bit different from what we're used to seeing. It's going to be fun. Like, I just don't know when it boils down to whether the US team can just have that relaxation about them, where they're going to have that fun and the weight off them. Whereas I know the European team can. There isn't the weight of expectation on them. There isn't that pressure, and the European team can come in there and hopefully deliver.
What's your response to this, like, camaraderie piece and like the this idea that everything's just all, rainbows and unicorns and in the Team Europe locker room, and everything in the USA, hotel is nothing but, just clicks and just guys being dummies? Like, what is your take on all that?
Listen, I think you can feed off the energy of other players that are on the same team, but how much of the Ryder Cup comes down to teamwork? You're paired up with 1 or 2 guys the first couple of days, and then you're individual come Sunday. So how much does the actual team aspect really boil out on 1v1 golf when we come to Sunday, when it comes to the nitty gritty? So that's something that probably is overplayed a bit. And everyone's trying to fit narratives at the minute. Everyone's trying to think about, right, let's try and find something to put the US team down about, because you should cakewalk this. You should walk this easily. It's set up for you guys to win this tournament. hands down by 4 or 5 points, and go home happy. But with that comes the expectation, and with that comes everyone trying to curve fit in other narratives for other arguments.
Yeah. All right. Well, talk about some of your favorite bets, Mark. I want to hear a few of the bets.
Yeah, I'll get to the bets in a second. I think you're downplaying some of the teams or some of the players that have maybe been left out. And what I want to try and look at is maybe angles that my captain, captain in Padraig Carrington is going to look at. Maybe he's logging into Fantasy National. He's looking at those Pete Dye design, last 24 rounds. I don't see Steve Stricker logging into Fantasy National or Data Golf and trying to really get into the numbers. So we're hearing all about this strokes gain data, and we're hearing about how great the American team is. Yes, you're all high flying in the World Golf rankings. You're high flying in the recent stats. But, I looked at it, and I was looking at the Pete Dye design, for example, and I was thinking to myself, right, we're a Pete Dye design course. Tee to green, who's popping there? Number one's Colin Morikawa. Is Colin Morikawa fit? Do we know that for sure? How much is he going to play, really?
Yeah,
he's not
sure.
right. It's a question mark. Number two, Shane Lowry, who I don't have any question marks about, rookie or not. I think he's set up well. You said there might be a linksy feel to this. The pressure side of things, he's nailed that with a major on, we'll say home turf in Northern Ireland. He's from the Republic, but same thing. Yeah, kind of. Number three, Brooks Koepka on Pete Dye design, tee to green. Is Brooks fit? So there's two of your top three on Pete Dye design. Outside of that, though, Lowry, Casey, Hovland, Wiesberger, Rahm, all in the top 10. So, there's maybe one narrative you could fit, and maybe my captain is sitting looking at those stats and going, okay, this team can work. Another bit I want to touch upon is the World Golf play, the match play. Now, I don't know if you would really wade too much into this, but this is an exhibition. The World Match Play is a bit of an exhibition. And yes, you said earlier about how different a Ryder Cup experience is. For me, the rookie side of things and the pressure will build up there. But in terms of the WGC, this year, only 2 of the US team made it out of their groups compared to 4 of the European team. And since the last Ryder Cup in 2019, we had another WGC World Match Play. None of this US team made it out of their groups. 4 of the European team topped the group. So it's a little narrative. It's something that might go, right, match play is going to come into fact here in a little bit. So, maybe that 1v1 mentality might be there for some of the European guys. Might tick the boxes. So there's little narratives that I'm looking at. And, let's look at another Fantasy National thing. The other sort of thing that might level the playing field, and you've touched upon it earlier, was the weather. Now, Steve Stricker can control a lot about the course, but he can't control the weather. So this week, I think leading in, we were looking at Friday being fairly windy. It looks like the latest I looked at looks like it's died down a little bit, but to be fair, Saturday looks very windy, and will lead into one of my prop bets that I'm going to get to in a second. But I could see my captain looking on to Fantasy National and going to that windy AF and clicking through the rounds, and yeah, you start to see the number one in the field is Sergio Garcia and ball striking in windy AF conditions. So little things like that there's, yourself when you're betting or DFS for the PGA Tour, how often does a shirt sink come from nowhere or someone off the field? Even with Sanderson's farm next week, Sergio Garcia spoiled the party last year, coming along out of nowhere and winning when he had no resemblance of form. This is 3 days of golf. This is match play. This is an exhibition. It's fun. And that experience, the match play side of things, and those little curve-fitting narratives, I have a closer, like US should win, but I have a closer than the betting odds would suggest.
Let me ask this, because I know we want to get to your picks, but I have a couple of things that I just need to talk about that you kind of brought up a little bit that I think I'd like some more clarity on. One is pressure. Okay, so I mean, can we have it both ways with this for the U.S.? So we're saying, and I'm saying too, because I did say it earlier, that the U.S. has a lot of pressure here, or more pressure than the Europeans, which I do think is true. But there's also this narrative that the U.S. players don't care as much about the Ryder Cup. Okay, so if you don't care about something, which I don't think is true, usually you in general you don't put a lot of pressure on yourself. If you have something that you don't have, you could take or leave. I feel like you would play a little more loose because you're like, oh, whatever. So that immediately debunks the whole not caring thing, because I don't think that's true at all. I think all the U.S. players care to win. So that's one thing. Another thing is about match play. And I kind of wonder why there is this other sort of narrative out there that the Europeans are better at match play. Now, maybe that we've seen that, obviously, in the Ryder Cups, we have seen that. So that, I'm being proven wrong already with what I'm saying, at least as far as Ryder Cups are concerned. But it's not like U.S. players don't grow up doing match play. I mean, they have the U.S. Amateur. They play match play in college golf all the time. They play a lot of tournaments with match play. So I kind of more ask that question from a European angle, like, why is it, like, what do they do over in Europe that's more match play driven than we do over here? Like, I don't necessarily understand why that's necessarily a narrative. And then we can get into foursomes and talk about, playing, alternate shot golf. And everybody's like, well, Europe, are so much better at foursomes. Who plays alternate shot golf? Nobody does that. It's not like did you grow up playing in Europe, playing alternate shot golf?
Absolutely not, as far as I know.
And I know.
I
So
certainly didn't.
why is that even something too? Like,
Yeah,
there's a lot of these things that come out, and I'm like, I don't understand them. I'm just trying to understand this.
I don't understand it, but the record is, I think, in foursomes anyways, 41-29 since 2002 in the Ryder Cup for Europe. Obviously, with different kettle of fish now, with different team members and a different vibe to the US team generally. But the record speaks for itself, where it's 41-29 since 2002 in Ryder Cup foursomes. So, for whatever reason, Europe seemed to have an edge there historically, and it seems to just go on. And I would touch upon I'd say a lot of this European team have played college golf anyway. Yes, the US team have that experience, but also those top European guys have been over there playing college golf and have that experience as well. So it's something that all golfers, I'm assuming, have grown up with. And to be fair, I don't think there's an edge or an advantage either way when it comes to match play necessarily. But so far, the stats are backing it up in terms of what has historically happened in match play, in terms of the results. Professionally, anyway.
Have definitely shown. I just don't know if I understand why there should even... I mean, I guess I understand why there's a narrative. I get it.
Yeah.
But I don't think there is really that much reasoning behind it. Like, I don't think you could pinpoint and say, well, the European team does this more, the U.S. team does this more. It's really not. It's just obviously favored the Euros more lately, but that could easily flip.
Yeah, and you can be guilty of trend fitting. Like, we are at a stage where betting wise, sample size wise, it's not a massive sample that we have for match play. It's not a massive sample that we have for Ryder Cup.
Yeah,
it's we're looking at data that is very minimal in terms of sample size, and that makes a huge difference long term. So maybe this trend bucks, and we come out of it and we see something completely different in the next 10 years. But because that sample size is so small betting wise, you can't really drive any value or extract something from those numbers. I'm going to play it up because I'm trying to make a case for Team Europe. But to be fair, it's not something you could really rest your hat on and say, yeah, 100% Team Europe have that edge.
All right, we got to get to the picks, because we haven't even done our picks yet, and then we're gonna show all these old photos and videos of me and Pat at Ryder Cup. So we got to hit that. All right, Mark, tell us some of the props you're on, and hopefully we can make some money somewhere with Team Europe.
I think Team Europe have a winning day in them. Now, that to me is not going to be on day 3. I think head to head, the US team should have that advantage. The weather looks like it's going to really calm on the Sunday, but in terms of Friday or Saturday, you're looking at possibly having an edge on day 1 or day 2. So this is trying to take a bet that you either Team Europe wins day 1 or Team Europe wins day 2, and both look to be priced up around plus 180. I've seen it as low as plus 160 and lower. Lowest I would go is plus 160. But if you're backing both your Team Europe to win day 1 and day 2, and they win one of them, you're coming out with some profit there at the end of it. If they win both, quids in it, we'll smile and we'll be happy about it. But to me, at plus 180, I think the European team have a real good chance, and especially if it's day 2 winner plus 180 with all the wind in play, a little bit of fatigue, maybe that rookie buzz and come down from day 1 to day 2, haven't had that real adrenaline burst in the first day. there could be a few different advantages. So I do favor Team Europe winning day 2 because of the weather advantage and some other experience advantage there. Day 3 I wouldn't touch because I do think that the US will come through there on day 3. But definitely a plus 180 for day 1 and plus 180 for day 2. That's something I'm looking at. There was another one that really interests me. I have to caveat it by saying that you guys suggest that we're going 4 balls first on Friday, and I thought we were going foursomes first. And I've seen different narratives, and it doesn't seem very clear exactly what's happening on Friday morning.
Yeah, it's well.
So I believe it's foursomes, but you reckon it's 4 balls first. So
yeah, I saw 4 balls on CBS and one other website, not the Ryder Cup website. So we'll see.
Okay, it's like anything. It's like trying to do the European Tour tips whenever you don't have any course data and you're trying to dig around for information. So there was a guy called Dave Tyndall that does tips in the UK here, and he had William Hill pricing up which European golfer and which American golfer will be first to tee up. It's a novelty bet, but if you can find that out there, and if it is foursomes, which I believe it is, but if it's 4 balls, we might still get the same narrative. So Sergio Garcia is plus 400 to be the first European Tour golfer to tee off at the Ryder Cup this year. If it's foursomes, he's likely to be paired with Rory McIlroy. And with that in mind, hole 2 is a par 5, and you want that length. So if Sergio is teeing off on T1, we're going to see, if it's foursomes, we're going to see that alternate shot in play, and then Rory teeing off T2. And given that Harrington is the sort of stats geek, if you like, coming in with the narratives, he's going to try and have that. And you've also got that experience narrative coming in, and the most winning golfer, and who better to tee off that first ball than Sergio Garcia at plus 400. John Rahm is the favorite at plus 225, I think, but I just don't see him putting Rahm up first. I think we're going to see JT and Spieth against Sergio and Rory as the first. And what a way to start the Ryder Cup. If that's what we're getting on Friday morning, I'm getting the popcorn ready, and away we go.
And if they put Sergio with Rahm, which I could see them doing, the Spanish duo out there doing their thing, I think the same logic applies on alternate shot. You would still want Rahm teeing off on the second hole, the par 5. That's a sharp bet. I like that, Mark. All right, you got any more for us?
Well, the inverse of that is the US side of things. If it is JT and Spieth going first, I think we're going to see Spieth going on the first tee, and again, that's priced at plus 450. So, it's the same sort of narrative. If it is alternate shot, which I'm hoping it is, then we're going to see Spieth going off first, and then JT off the second hole. And then if it's not, I still think Spieth, as one of the more experienced guys within that Ryder Cup setup, is going to be one of the first guys to tee off. So I do think we're getting that matchup. It's then just trying to grab that before the Thursday tee times are announced, or the Thursday pairings are announced tomorrow night. So yeah, that's about as much as I have at the minute. I've looked at different things, and I wanted to get your perspective on generally where the price is for the full matchup. So we're having Team Europe and Team USA priced almost identical this week. Is the Cincinnati Bengals playing at Pittsburgh Steelers in Heinz Field? Would you rather have the Bengals going into Heinz Field and winning, or Team Europe taking down Team USA? What's more likely to happen?
I think it's Team Europe taking down USA.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And I think if you're sitting at a US, if you're sitting US facing, and all the sportsbooks are coming out, and legalization, these sportsbooks are trying to chop your hand off right now to get your business and take your money. There is lots and lots of boosted odds out there. There's lots of promos. There's lots of specials. The Ryder Cup is this one that gets the armchair fans in who aren't watching golf religiously week by week. They're not looking at the Alfred Dunhill next week or the Sanderson's Farm. They are here for the Ryder Cup, and they want to bet it to have an interest. And I would say, if you aren't betting orientated, have some fun this week. Play some novelty bets. Try and find a boost. I think I've seen a hole-in-one priced up at plus 400. There will be books out there that will price that up in bonus and specials at plus 600, plus 800. Try and find those little novelty bets that you can have something to cheer. And if it's Team Europe that does it and the US go on to win, at least you have a little bit of fun with Team Europe landing that hole-in-one. So just have fun with it, guys. Like betting, you can take it serious, you can have that edge, but also a novelty event, if you like, but one with a little bit of an edge to it. Have some fun with it as well.
I love it. Love it, Mark.
I love the first tee shot ones, because then if you hit one of those, because you're not expecting to hit that, right? Like, you're gonna bet that you're not gonna expect to hit it. You can have the best logic in the world, which you do, and you're still not expecting to get that right. But if you do, it's the first tee shot on Friday, and now you're like,
Yeah.
Daddy's got some extra cake, baby.
It's kind of like some of these
go.
Super Bowl bets that you go
If you
with,
get the coin toss right, you're like, yeah, boy, you about to
Definitely.
roll.
Yeah, start with a coin toss, finish with a Gatorade color, and you're
Yes, absolutely.
By
By the way, I'm very good at hitting.
I
the
nailed that
Gatorade
last
color.
year. I did. I nailed that last year. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Mark. Mark Hill, the resident Tour Junkies European Tour expert, coming out with the podcast and YouTube video next week for the Alfred Dunhill Links Championship. It's going to be a pretty good field and a great tournament to watch. Probably one of the best tournaments left of the year. So you're going to want to catch Mark on that. Mark, anything else, man? Any final thoughts?
No, all good. Listen, when the pairings come out tomorrow, I will be in the Nut Hut just giving a bit of feedback betting wise. That there will be matchups that really stand out, and we'll try and find a bit more value, because most of your audience is US facing. These sort of inflated prices about the European golfers you can make the most of. So I'm going to try and pick out a few there, drop them in the Nut Hut, and we'll have a bit of fun for the weekend.
Love it. Awesome. Thank you, Mark. We appreciate it. You're staying up late. You're doing your thing. You're an all-star, man. We appreciate it.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks, Mark.
Have a good week. Enjoy the Ryder Cup. Go USA. All right. Thanks to Mark. That was awesome. Let's get to our prop picks, Pat. I've got a handful of them here. We're going to run through these. So if you're wanting to tail these, you need to get your pen and paper out, because we're ready to roll.
Yeah.
Mine are all like scattered around, because like as I've dug deep into these books, and so I just kind of wrote them. I don't really have a great order to these, so I'm just gonna throw them. I'm gonna start throwing them out there. I'll throw one, you throw one. You want to do that?
Okay, fine.
All right, here we go. Day one, the 4 balls winner, just 4 balls. Who's gonna win day one? Team USA or Team Europe? I'm gonna say Team USA. I like them in the best ball format. The talent factor to me, they're gonna be playing their own ball. So you don't worry about as much of the alternate shot, team chemistry, same golf ball crap that maybe the Team Europe would have a slight edge on. I like the USA to win day one 4 balls because of the talent factor. So by the way, I'm staying away from the overall line. I'm not going to bet. I don't think Team Europe is going to win, and I'm not going to bet the big number or the short number on USA to win. So I'm not even messing with that. So day one, 4 balls winner, USA plus 100. That's my first one.
Okay. All right. Well, then I'm going to jump to some more individualized bets, and I'm going to start with the top rookie. Okay.
Ooh, I think I've got that.
So I'm going to go with the top rookie, and I'll give you who I think the top rookie is going to be on the U.S. team and the European team. I'll start with the European team, and I think this is probably pretty obvious, but I think you got Hovland at 5-1. Now, this is top rookie overall, meaning not between, because obviously,
US or Europe.
There's not many rookies on the European team, but I like him at 5-1 to be the top rookie in this event. And then for the Americans, I like Daniel Berger at 8-1. I think Berger is I don't care if it's DFS, betting, or whatever. Across the board, I think Berger is a great play this week. And I alluded to this earlier when you brought up the President's Cup. He played in he's not a rookie to team events, because he did play in the last President's Cup. Had a decent record. I think he was 2-1. I think he was 1-1 between the matches he played in foursomes and 4-ball, and then he won his singles match against Siwoo Kim, actually. But here's the thing about Berger that I liked. They asked him, leading into, so the U.S. had pretty much won the President's Cup on Saturday. It was ridiculous. The last time they played the President, this is the one that was over here, not the one in Australia. And, they talked about, are you going to be kind of more relaxed and whatever, because all they needed was 1 point in the singles matches to win. And he was like, no, I want to beat their brains in. And so I like that about Berger. Like,
yeah,
I don't care about his record necessarily at the President's Cup, but I liked his attitude. Like, he just wants to beat people. I think Berger brings a lot to the table on this team that people might underestimate. I think he's actually got some Kisner mentality that people wanted on this team, and they're getting with Berger, and they're getting with a better course fit, and they're getting with, a better, a player in better form, a better, just as good, if not better, of a putter than Kisner is. I mean, Berger is a fantastic putter, so I think that's huge for him. So I really like Berger this week in a lot of different formats, and especially betting.
I like Berger too. I'm high on him. I think it was a great pick. I have one top rookie, overall top rookie, and it was Xander. You can actually get a slightly better number with Xander on PointsBet at plus 450. I like Berger. I think Xander's a killer. We know that Xander's going to be paired with his best buddy in the world, Patrick Cantlay. I think they're a great duo. I think he gets a slight. I think because of the known versus the unknown, I don't know who Berger's going to go with. Like, I'm not really sure who they're going to put him out there with. And we've gone too long already to speculate into pairings, but I do feel confident that in some of these team events, the first team sessions, the first 2 days, we're going to see plenty of Xander and Cantlay.
I agree.
And I think that gives me a little bit of confidence there. And I think then for the singles matches, Xander can take it. So top rookie for me in both teams is going to be Xander at plus 450. All right, you're up.
All right, I'm going to go with.
Hey, why don't you do two, and I'm going to go refill my drink real quick.
Okay, I'm going to go. So I'll follow up on top rookie, and I'm going to go with top point scorer overall. Okay, and then I'll break that up between the top USA point scorer and the top European point scorer. Overall, I think Cantlay at 10-1 is a really good number. You look at Cantlay and the confidence he has coming into this week. He's obviously the reigning FedEx Cup champion. He is coming in great form with a lot of confidence. By the way, if you have not watched his press conference from today, which is Wednesday, I would go out and try to find it, whether it's you're on Twitter or whatever. Go look at Cantlay's press conference. It is fantastic. He is in a great mindset. I think he could really be a key this week for the U.S. team. And I think he could be the leading point scorer. So at 10-1, I think that's a pretty good number for him. Now, if you want to go more long shot there, and this is overall too, between the Europeans and the U.S. team, Berger at 30-1, maybe. The only thing about Berger that might concern me there is, will he get to play in all the matches? I don't know. I don't know if he'll get to play in all the matches. So we'll see there. The top, if you look at the top European point scorer, I like Shane Lowry at 9-1. I think Lowry at 9-1 is a fantastic number. I love him in this format. I love him on this course. Mark mentioned him earlier. I think he is set up extremely well to have a great week for this team. You're looking for a little bit of value here when you're looking at some of these prop bets. Not just trying to go with the John Rahms of the world and the Ian Poulters who tend to already have great records, and Sergio. So I think Shane Lowry at 9-1 to be the top European point scorer is a good number for him. And I think he is a key player for them this week going into Whistling Straits. It's a good course for him. Everything else, he's just laid back, fun dude. So there you go.
Well, what was your first one, real quick?
Top point scorer between the two teams overall. Cantlay at 10-1. I really like that number. And then longer shot number, I mentioned Berger again at 30-1. But I don't know if Berger's going to get in to all the matches, which, so that's the key there.
Yeah, that's obviously something we haven't mentioned yet, is
same in DFS.
Yeah, predicting who's going to play the most matches. Obviously, you can play a max of 5. Not everybody's going to play 5. There's going to be plenty who we're going to see twice, plenty we're going to see 3 times. So it's predicting who's going to have 5 matches, which I would guess Jordan and JT on the American side are going to have 5.
I think they'll have 5. For sure.
I feel like I do have a feeling about Finau. I'm with you.
I think Finau's going to have 5.
I think Finau's going to have 5. And then we'll just see. We'll see how it goes. I think Xander Cantlay could have 5 because I think they're going to go out all 4 sessions the first 2 days. So I think those guys are up.
Do you think? And we obviously don't know this right now, but do you think there's going to be some good prop bets to potentially jump on after Friday?
I mean, I think in general, I think in general, just being able to live bet this thing is really the way to go. I think some of these bets we're given, you may just want to, bookmark them or make a note of them for when the pairings come out and we do figure out foursomes, four balls. I mean, obviously, if a guy's not up there in the first session on Friday, that's a problem. I don't know if I'd be betting that guy. So you just don't want to pay attention when they do finally release these things and then act quickly before books start changing lines up on you. But that's something to pay attention to. And I think it's definitely in play for a live betting scenario. I would love to just sit at home and live bet the crap out of the Ryder Cup for 3 days. That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I plan to do it.
I'll say this too, because I'm seeing a few comments on the chat. And I don't know, they're not necessarily meaning this, but I wouldn't, when you're looking at DFS or maybe even betting too, but more DFS, don't just think about trying to take guys that are going to play in 5 matches, because that could backfire on you a little bit too. Like if you get a guy that is only going to play in 4, but he goes 4-0, well, it's going to be better than the guy that plays in 5 and goes 1-4. So, I mean, don't just zero in only on guys that you think are going to play 5 matches. That's not the only main strategy concept that you need to be looking at. It's one of them for sure.
Yeah. In 2018, JT played all 5 matches. Rahm did not. Isn't that kind of wild? Rahm played 3 in 2018. So, yeah, it is tough to predict. It just depends. All right. I'm going to run through a couple here real quickly. Top U.S. point scorer. DraftKings offers 2, like where you can pick 2 players. So it's an either or top U.S. point scorer. 2 names we've talked about a lot already. Tony Finau or Daniel Berger is 5-1. So you get both of them for 5-1 to be the top U.S. point scorer. I think that one's interesting. And then the shortest number that I like there is Spieth or Scheffler at plus 330. I think all 4 of those guys make an interesting case. But Finau or Berger at 5-1 actually I feel like that number should be at plus 330. Like I would almost rather take the Finau or Berger at 5-1. I mean, if it was plus 330 and Spieth Scheffler were plus 330, I think I would take it, because here's the thing about Spieth. Even though he's got all the experience, right, and he's a leader, he's a new leader of this team, this course isn't great for Jordan Spieth, right?
It's not
super great for Jordan. So we'll see if he play. I don't know that Jordan. I don't see if I feel better about Finau playing 5 matches than I do Jordan playing 5 matches. Finau's longer.
Don't you feel a little bit though like Jordan is he's not course proof, but there's a lot of courses that he gets on that you think are not going to be good fits for him.
He's as close as anybody could be to course proof. That's that short off the tee. Yes, I agree. All right.
By the way, these are doubles, so and so it's a little different. Like there are also top U.S. scorers that are just singles.
Oh yeah. I have some of those, but
okay.
That's what I'm saying.
I didn't know if you specified that.
Yeah,
but it's a
you're
separate section.
Either Finau or Berger together at 5-1.
Okay.
Spieth and Scheffler at plus 330. Again, going back to Finau, this is a matchup I saw. Most points won. Finau even money over Tommy Fleetwood. I think that's a no-brainer. Now, weather pending. But I think Finau's shown to play really well in tough conditions. Obviously, we're both really high on Tony Finau's spot this week. But even money over Tommy Ladd, to me, I mean, Finau's got the length on him. He's got a better around the green game. Don't sleep on Tony Finau's short game. Like he's a very good, very good grinder around these greens. So I think that one's interesting. And then let me give you another quick one before I jump to you. Let's see. So DraftKings also offers margins of victory. So if you really buy into the U.S., to win by 1 to 3 points is plus 250. To win by 4 to 6 is plus 350. Obviously, if they only win by the half, you're screwed. Or if they win by 7, you're screwed. But you can pick one of those ranges. You could bet both of them. You could hammer one a little bit more than the other, but have a little bit on the other to give you some spread there. But I do feel like the U.S. is going to win. I don't know that it's going to be a full-on, assault and embarrassment for Team, Euro. So I think the plus 250 number to win by 1 to 3 points would be the one I'd feel the most comfortable with. But I like both of them.
Okay. God, what else is out here?
All right, I got some more. You want me to fire them?
I may let you fire, and then I got a few.
I see some advantage on PointsBet that I don't over DraftKings here when we're comparing these two books. Top U.S. points earners. So U.S. only, top points earners. Tony Finau is 10-1 on DraftKings. He's 11-1 on PointsBet. You get a little break there. That's Finau again. Here's a name we haven't mentioned. I think DJ is going to have a sneaky good Ryder Cup. And I say sneaky, and it's kind of weird to say that. He is the veteran on the team. I think he's tremendous in match play. He's never frazzled. This is a perfect course for him. He could play with anybody. He could play with Brooks. I think you could pair him with Bryson. I mean, I think DJ doesn't give a rip. He literally could not give any less care than he already does. Put him with Bryson. I think he can play with anybody on the team. It fits him, and he's got the experience. I like DJ. He is at 7-1 on DraftKings, but he's plus 750 on PointsBet. So PointsBet giving you a little help there with both Finau and DJ to be your top USA points earners.
Okay. Here's one that I think is interesting. The top captain's pick point score.
Well, I have one of those.
Okay, so I think this is interesting to me. I think we'll go back to Finau. If you're looking at Finau, it's 7-1 to be the top captain's pick point scorer. So you're taking out all the other guys and it's just the captain's pick. I like Finau, and then I mentioned Shane Lowry before. He's at 7.5-1. I think he's also a good option there as well between the two teams.
Okay, I'm looking for the one. All right, here we go. This is the one that I wanted to show you because I have one of those, but it's actually only Team Europe, which the three captains picks would be Sergio, Poulter, and Lowry.
You can do that too. You're right.
And I think the favorite in that group, Sergio Garcia, is the one that you hammer. Now, Mark loves Shane Lowry here.
See, I'm going Lowry.
I think Garcia is nails. He showed some form in spots this year. He's obviously the most seasoned Ryder Cupper in this entire tournament, with a tremendous Ryder Cup record, 22, 12, and 7 overall in the Ryder Cup. And he's got to be looking at this as his last Ryder Cup as a player. I mean, I don't see Sergio Garcia playing in the 2023 Ryder Cup in Rome. Plus 150, just plus money on a guy like that on Sergio. He's got the length still. He's still the ball striker that he's always been. I like the number at plus 150. I don't think Ian Poulter gives you much.
No,
if you look at
I am going to like
over the last couple of Ryder Cups, it's not as good as the overall record leads you to believe.
Well, I'm just going to be. I'm not doing anything with Poulter this year.
Yeah, I'm not either.
He's going to be my like the 2018 Patrick Reed to me. I hope that happens actually too. I hope he fails miserably this week. I really do.
I like Poulter though, but
I like Poulter a lot, but I hope that he struggles big time.
Here's some bombs. You ready for some bombs? Because it's hard to find bombs here, right?
Kind of is
hard to find bombs, but there are some bets on DraftKings. You can bet on a player to win 5 points, which is really hard to do. Francesco Molinari did it in 2018 all over us at Le Golf National. Very hard to do, but to win all 5 points means you got to play in all 5 matches and you got to win all 5 matches. So I think you gotta narrow that down to those players who you really believe are going to play in those 5 matches. I don't like the rookies there. I don't know that I can easily predict every rookie's going to play 5 matches or which rookie's going to play 5 matches. But a guy who we've said his name a ton, we've said his name like 50 times. Tony Finau is 100-1 to win 5 points. He in his first Ryder Cup in 2018 in Paris, he played 3 matches. He won 2 of them. Despite the course not being great for him, we enter this course at Whistling Straits that is good for him. To win 5 points, 100-1. DJ is 40-1, and Justin Thomas is 35-1 to win 5 points. I think those are 3 names that are, I think some of your best bets to see all 5 matches, and if they could get hot enough, could win all 5, and that's about as long a shot as you can get with any sort of Ryder Cup bet that I can find.
Yeah, I don't mind either of those. I think they're good ones. I don't have any true long shot ones like that. Maybe
I do see some value on PointsBet in a different category. I think you mentioned it earlier. Total combined, or maybe you didn't. Total combined points scored. So USA and Europe, who's going to score the most points out of both teams?
Yeah, I did talk about that.
Okay, Finau is at 16-1 on DraftKings. He's 20-1 on PointsBet. That's a pretty big.
I like that number.
Paul Casey, who not bad Ryder Cup record, making his 6th appearance, ball striker, playing well. Casey is 14-1 on DraftKings, 22-1 on PointsBet. And DJ is 10-1 on DraftKings and 11-1 on PointsBet. So PointsBet's giving you a little bit of extra love there on those boys. That's all I've got. Those are all my props bets.
Yeah, I think that's it for me. Maybe I'll post some more in the
Nut Hut.
In Pat's Nobody Cares betting card.
Ooh, and that. I do have to say this, a new addition to the Nut Hut is a channel on NFTs and cryptocurrency. And if you're interested in investing in cryptocurrencies but aren't sure where to get started, the Kraken. Release the Kraken. That's something we're going to be talking about with Bryson this week, is releasing the Kraken. The Kraken app. You can buy and sell over 50 of the most popular cryptos like Bitcoin, Dogecoin, ever heard of it, and Ethereum. You can do that on the go with the app 24/7. It's really easy to get started. You just download the app, create your account. You're buying crypto in minutes. One of the coolest things about buying crypto through Kraken is you don't need a lot of money to try it out. So even if Bitcoin is worth whatever it is, like 43,000 right now, you can buy as little as $10 worth on Kraken to just go ahead and dip your toe in there. So find out for yourself why Kraken has been one of the highest rated places to buy crypto for the last 10 years. Visit kraken.com/Tour Junkies now to learn more, or search for Kraken in the App Store. That's KRAKEN.com/Tour Junkies to learn a little more and search, or you can search Kraken in the App Store. Thanks to those folks for supporting the Tour Junkies podcast, Pat. Now, real quick before we get into we go down memory lane here, because this is going to get long. The DraftKings situation, here's basically what you need to know. It's kind of like an NFL showdown slate where you pick a captain.
Yes.
And then you're still gonna have the salary cap, 50,000, 6 players. You pick a captain. The captain score, the captain score is 1.5 times, as opposed to 1x everybody else. You're gonna get points for holes that you win. You're gonna get points for holes that you halved, and you're gonna lose points for holes that you lose. Holes that you don't play because you close out your match, you get bonus points for those. So if you close it out on number 17, then you get extra points for not having to play number 18. You get bonus points for winning matches. Obviously, you get bonus points for having matches. You get bonus points for 3 holes in a row that your player wins or their team wins, and you get bonus points for no holes lost in an entire match. That one would probably be tough to do, but those are bonus points. Listen, I don't love this week for DraftKings. I'm probably going to play the $100 single entry and maybe like the $12 single entry. I just don't love it. I would much rather play around with these prop bets, have some fun with those, knock yourself out with that. But obviously, if you're going to get into it, I would say be contrarian. Be very aware of how many entries you're playing in, obviously, like always. And there you go. That's it. That's all I'm doing with that. I'm done.
Yeah, I agree. I think you do need to be, if you play showdown NFL slates and things like that. You kind of, I tend to put a lot of emphasis on where what I'm doing with my captain slot, and then and I don't necessarily. I think ownership matters there, obviously, but then you got the rest of your guys you got to fill out. Ownership's going to be key a little bit here. It's all going to be high. It's all going to be high because you only have a few players to choose from, but there could be some little differentials here and there. But yeah, I'm not going to play that much this week. I'm just not.
No.
So it's so random. It's just like when you play showdowns. I mean, the people that, like, if you're going to do it, play single entries. Like I said, don't play the 150 max tournaments, because somebody out there has got a huge algorithm computer program thing that's going to fuck you over anyway.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Just saying.
Okay. All right. Here's what we're going to do now. I'm going to go ahead and cut the audio podcast version because this is if you're going to consume what's coming up next, then you better be watching. If you're not watching it, it's not going to be as good. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the audio podcast right here at an hour 25 minutes, and we're going to continue here on YouTube Live and take you down memory lane, because Pat and I were privileged and honored enough to be on site for the 2016 Ryder Cup at Hazeltine and the 2018 Ryder Cup at Le Golf National in Paris. And they were incredibly memorable trips that I will never forget. And I had a lot of fun going down memory lane, looking at some of these pictures and videos, most of which I could not share. But I'm going to show you on YouTube. I'm going to bring up some pictures. I'm going to play some videos. We're going to do the damn thing. But for those listening on audio, thank you for listening. May your screens be green and may your bets all win. Awesome. Yeah. See ya. Oh, okay. But for you people on video, Pat, do you need to go get your rosé? I just refilled my tequila, and my face is starting to feel kind of.
I feel like I need to go get a rosé for this.
Yeah.
So you just give me a second.
All right. Let me tee something up. Let me see here. If you're in the chat, stick around. This is about to get. I hope you guys are about to enjoy this as much as I will. All right. First things, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna get straight to a big moment in TJ history. Let me close Pat's self out of here. Let me change this. All right, here we go. We're gonna get to a big moment in Tour Junkies history. You've heard us say the word, or maybe you've seen it typed out in a tweet and been like, "What the are these guys talking about?" The word boom. Okay, boom. You know, we say that it's interchangeable with the word boom, like boom, yes. But we say boom. Well, that all originated from a video I'm about to show you, and it was at the 2016 Ryder Cup at Hazeltine. It was Sunday night. The U.S. team had won. It was the same night that, yes, I told you Patrick Reed made me feel all kinds of things, and I had been on a high all day. We had been drinking. We were at the house that we were staying in, which had an indoor basketball court in their house, which was amazing. Pat's brother, DirecTV Perry, Chris Perry, was there. And it was a fantastic night. We'd had a lot of fun. Chris is in the chat. Yes, there he is. Boom. I was there. Chris, I promise you, the video I'm about to show you, I did edit out you in your underwear. So there you go. So it was a wonderful evening. We partied. We celebrated the U.S. victory. We were all getting ready to fly home the next night. But, you know, we were pounding some Woodford Reserve double oaked pretty hard. And this video was taken at around 1 a.m. Pat had passed out for maybe the second time and had risen from the dead to find me and Chris in the indoor basketball court, shooting baskets in our underwear. Why were we in our underwear? We were going to go to sleep, and we were like, no, let's go shoot basketball. And we both sleep in our underwear, I guess. So we just showed up at the court wearing wearing some underwear. So we were shooting basketball. I passed the ball to Pat, knowing that he was very inebriated and half asleep, half dead. And I said, I want you to shoot this. You can hear me saying shoot it drunkenly in this video. And Pat dribbles the ball. Well, first of all, he questions why we're wearing what we're wearing or not wearing what we're wearing. And he questions that. And then he looks in the camera and goes, I'm going to make this. And he says, boom. And he was saying in his brain, he was saying boom, but in his slurred speech and mouth, he said boom. And it wasn't, and it's only about a 15-foot shot, and he proceeds to airball it. Doesn't even hit the front rim. You'll see that in the video. But we didn't even realize that he said boom until days later when we were all reviewing our phone, and then it just became an inside joke and something funny. So here's the video. Here you go.
You fuckers are in your boxes.
Shoot it.
Well, I'm gonna make this shit anyway. Boom. Not even close.
I love the not even close.
Not even close.
Not even close. Wait a minute. Let me get this right. You are in your underwear.
I mean,
was
that
so
part was
good.
strange to me. I mean, I just
I know.
woke
I teed
up.
it up. I teed it all up.
I just woke up and I was like, what the hell is going on here?
Okay. All right. That was 2016. Let me check my videos here. All right. That's 2016. Now I'll walk you through some, we got some fun pictures. Let me tell you this.
This Miller Lite that I poured, by the way, is terrible. So I'm going to the rosé.
Good. All right, this is a picture of me and Pat and a couple of our buddies and some guys we found, we're wearing the same shirts here. But we get there early at Hazeltine and find just some rowdy boys. Who knows? I don't even know if these guys listen to our show anymore, but here we are. We had our socks on. We were raring and ready to go. We just looked like Ryder Cuppers. It was a great time, Pat. It was a great time, I would say.
One of the guys is wearing our shirt. Who was that?
Well, that's Kevin. That's my friend Kevin.
Oh, that's Kevin. I forgot Kevin. I forgot Kevin was
yeah.
That's right.
Josh Kistler, I love that. Southern drunk slurred speech. I have a full dictionary of these terms, sounds, and mumbles. Yes. Daniel Badeup. Yes, the origins of Bohm. That is it. That's a beautiful thing, man. That video.
There was some debate on whether that should be released, but we finally released that back when we talked about, because there was actually a long time where I would not even allow Bohm in general to be like, it was going to be a protected word.
Yeah, you were so weird about it. I love this from Nathan. Appreciate the rally attempt. Yeah, dude. If you even knew the videos I have on my phone,
it gets
Pat
even
getting in the bed and getting up and getting in the bed and getting up. It was just absolutely amazing. Anyway, so all right, then we obviously, it was in Minnesota. It was at Hazeltine. One of our dearest friends, Moose, from Mooseonomics originally, and founder and creator of Fantasy National, is right there in the middle picture that you see there on your screen. He's a member at Hazeltine, lives right there in Chaska, and just a great dude. We had a great time hanging out with Moose. This is hanging out in kind of the hospitality area. Look at us, Pat. Look at us. You had no facial hair. You looked younger. I was fatter in that picture, actually. And Moose looks about the same.
Moose
doesn't age.
Yeah. I liked those hats, by the way, that we had.
Those were good hats.
They were very poor quality, but they
were very piss poor quality. Threads all over the place.
Yeah.
You would think we had like dreadlocks, but no, those are threads.
Yeah.
We got some new hats we're working on, by the way, people. So be ready for those.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had a great time with Moose. In fact,
by the way, Moose is a great. I was just up in Hazeltine this past summer. The member guest with Moose, and it was unreal. We played the because actually most people don't know that the Ryder Cup, the routing that they play Hazeltine is different than the normal course. So we played the Ryder Cup routing for the member guest, and it was a lot of fun. I had a great time with Moose. So.
Yeah, we had such a good time with Moose. In fact, one of my favorite memories of that trip is, I believe, was it the night before we won, or was it that same night when we won? No. We went straight to the house when we won. We ordered food.
No, we went straight to that house.
So it was the night before. It was the night before.
Went to
Excelsior, Minnesota.
And Moose this little town. Yes.
Moose took us to this little dockside, lakeside nightclub in Excelsior, Minnesota, home of Tim Herron, Lumpy. Okay. And let me just tell you this, all the women at this place, also lumpy. But we had a great time. There was a killer band. It was super small, and we were partying, and we were throwing down. Yeah. I'm not going to, I don't have, but I'll just say this. We threw down. This is Pat and Moose in the bar, just singing at the top of their lungs, having a good time. Fun story about that night, I will say, is, we were minding our own business. We were completely, we were behaving. We were behaving. And we were just dancing.
To the extent you can mind your own business when you're drunk and having fun.
Yeah. In a small Excelsior nightclub. And we were just having a good time. We were right there in front of the stage. We were listening to music. We were drinking. We were having a great time. And this real thick-wristed broad from Minnesota, I will never forget it. I watched it with my very own eyes. Walked up to Pat.
Yes.
And Pat was just minding. I'm telling you, he was.
I really was minding my own business.
He was drinking. He had that look on his face, like he was trying to figure out where he was. He's just in his own little space. And this girl grabbed him by the hand, raised his left hand up with his wedding band on it,
Raised it up.
and looked at Pat, and she said, "I don't give a about this." and and I'm like over Pat's shoulder, and my eyes are real big, and Pat looks at her, his eyes real big. He's like, and I just go, "What? Well, he's married and his wife's hot." And Pat's like, "Yeah." And then we just turned around and ran outside because
we ran as
we thought
fast as we could.
we thought she might throw us down and beat our money, or throw us down and take our money.
She did not care that I was married.
She did not care. That girl she was ready to rumble with Pat, and she did not give a rip about his wedding band. All right, anything else for 20? I think that's it for 2016. I have a lot more from 2018. So
I mean, outside of those were the fun time. And then 2016 also we've talked about on the show earlier was just the experience of being there and being on the course, and it's I've been to a lot of sporting events in my life, and it's up there for sure in the top 5. It's just unbelievable. I know people complain and they say, well, golf is only on 3 or 4 holes and all that kind of stuff. I don't care. Being at a Ryder Cup is a fantastic experience.
You got to do it one time. The viewing experience is tough. It's really tough.
It is.
But the atmosphere is electric now. It was way more fun in 2016 when we won.
Absolutely.
It was miserable on Sunday in 2018, but at least you're in Paris. So there you go. Yeah, we've talked about our on-course experiences at Hazeltine a lot on this show, so I won't get into that. I think we need to get into 2018. 2018, me and Pat take the wives. Oh, and Moose. Moose joins us again.
Moose and Mara is beautiful.
Moose and Mara, they join us in Paris for the Ryder Cup at Le Golf National, and I mean, a memorable trip it was. I don't even know where to begin. There's so many good things. I guess I'll go to the on-course stuff first. So on course, I mean, this is great. This is a great picture of me and Pat right there at Le Golf National, rocking our Captain America T-shirts with Tiger Jesus looking down on Patrick there, right there at Le Golf National. We made those for just specifically for for that.
Think how much better I would have looked if we had gone if we had gotten to bearded Pat at that.
But I was just about to say, man, you would look. And again, I was probably 18 pounds heavier there than I am now, so. I would have looked better too. If we could have gone to our future selves, how crazy would it have been that we would say, hey, we're doing better than we are at that point, Here we are again. Now, this outfit got a ton of attention.
Yeah. Now, you're not going to look great. Now, you look good in this outfit just because of the outfit itself, but we have, at least I know I have pleated pants on because that's what they are.
I do too.
Yeah, we both had the pleated pants on.
Look how big the legs are in those.
They look so big.
Like the wind does not blow. Like that's how baggy the pants are. We got those off of eBay, and we made the shirts ourselves. We as a copy of the Brookline uniform, and we both wore Brookline hats that we got off eBay. The one I'm wearing now. I mean, everyone would stop us. Europeans, Americans stopped us the entire time talking about those outfits. Those outfits did really well. In fact, they did so well that Miss Jenna Sims.
Oh yeah, I forgot
that shirt. Look at
Mrs.
that.
Steal your shirt.
It's Mrs. Steal your shirt. Now we managed to sneak in a swag bag of Ryder Cup gear to all the American players at Eastlake a couple weeks before through a contact that we have. We were able to put this swag fanny pack. Actually, it was a USA fanny pack of swag in their lockers at the Tour Championship. Obviously, Brooks got his because here is Jenna Sims rocking our Ryder Cup shirt, which I got to say.
Does she realize where our faces are is what I want to know, because the detail of the shirt is not just the fact that it copies what that Brookline shirt was, but also the prints and the frames and the pictures on that are us.
Yeah.
So they're
we're right there in the shirt. If we managed to work our faces in and a couple of Golby photos in there as well. It's a beautiful shirt, and it was very cool to see Jenna rocking that. Now, Josh Kistler saying he's been wanting this shirt for a long time. Josh,
I've got like
we have
2
a
or 3
couple of them.
XLs left, I think.
Yeah, like they're on the website, dude. What are you even doing? You just go to the web. You know how to do this. We know you know how to do this. Now we may recreate that shirt for 2023, and I think we may do it in a polo. I'm just saying. I'm just saying that might be something that we do. Okay. I think that's all I have for on-course shenanigans in Paris. Yes, because I have way more off-course shenanigans.
I went back and looked at my videos. The only one I had, and I can't remember what the bet was I have several videos of like tournament play. One of them, well, there's 2 of them. One of them I have is a video of you assaulting Justine Reed with a bunch of t-shirts, but you missed her and you hit whoever the wag was.
Her horse-faced sister. That was not a wag. That was her.
Okay, so she was behind her and you hit it. It just landed on her. Who knows what happened to those t-shirts? I still wonder where those t-shirts are these days. Like, who's wearing those t-shirts?
I guarantee you Patrick wears that shirt all the time. It's this cut and grass shirt.
Yeah. But anyway, so I have that video, which I've cut up into slow motion. But then I also have the video of you bringing me beers. Do you remember that? Like, what was the bet where you had to go wait in line and bring me beers and miss golf?
Dude, you're right. I remember that. I don't know.
Yeah.
We were betting a lot on the course, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
Kistler, if you want a large, I'm telling you, the shirts can run a little small. You can shrink them, whatever. All right. I got some stories to get to here now. This I will never forget. I can't believe I won't forget it because I was so hammered. I can probably count on one hand how many times I've been more hammered than the first night in Paris. Do you remember?
We were lit.
In fact,
I mean, we hit and that was after obviously a long flight. We hit the ground running.
We found the most amazing Parisian restaurant on this hole in the wall, tiny place. This was after. Do you remember we went to that bar, that bar in the middle of the day?
Yes.
And the bartender stayed open, or he was going to shut down or something.
And we pounded him.
He kept giving us free beer.
Yeah.
It was so nice. He was so nice. Moose and Mara, me and Pat, hammering. Sally, my wife wasn't there yet. She came later. Hammering beers, right? And then we go to dinner. And we go to dinner at this small little hole in the wall. We had met a couple friends along the way. I don't even know how we met them. And here we are drinking wine from, yes, that's right, what you see there in the picture, wine from baby bottles.
Bottles.
Oh, it was a fondue restaurant. I can see it.
Yeah.
There's fondue.
Dip and cook.
And they are serving red or white wine. We were selecting our wine and they bring it to you in a baby bottle. There's Moose sucking it down. Pat is taking a picture while I'm taking a picture of his own baby bottle. I mean, you got Sally there, Pat's wife, the blonde. Mara is Moose's wife, the other lady. Beautiful ladies. We went bananas in that place, but wine from baby bottles, and it was delicious. Just putting the nipple in the mouth, it felt natural.
Good. Yeah,
it was very natural.
I mean, you haven't put a nipple in your mouth to drink from in a long time, right?
It's been a long. I mean,
it's been a long
it's
time.
been like 36 years, maybe.
So you did it tonight.
You're right.
Night, and it felt right. There was
if that's wrong, I don't want to be right. I tell you. It was beautiful, man. I mean, that was just such a starter to the night. I do remember this. I think Ash was with us, or maybe that was another night. Ash Morrison was with us, who was our resident Euro Tour expert at the moment. But Ash met us there in Paris. And all I know is you guys went somewhere, and I was so gone that apparently I was waiting on you guys outside this restaurant, and Ash just found me literally sitting and laying on someone's crotch rocket motorcycle, not my own.
I remember
that was part.
Yeah.
And all I remember is Ash coming up to me and being like, DB, you got to get off the motorcycle, mate. It's not your motorcycle. It's like 1 a.m. and I'm like, and I'm like laying on this.
We had to get you off the
ninja motorcycle.
We were scared.
He's like, this guy's gonna beat your ass if he comes out here and finds you on this motorbike or whatever it was. He said. So I'm like, I was so messed up. The crazy thing is, No, Kistler. It was not a Vespa. It was like a full-on motorcycle. The crazy thing was I made it to the first tee. I was determined. I'm going to be
It's amazing that you did that.
I'm going to be at number
amazing.
I'm going to be on the number 1 tee when the first ball goes in the air on Friday, and I was. Pat was not.
Which is crazy because let's just be honest.
You're a professional.
I'm more of a professional than you are at this. But I could not even get up for this.
Well, when you finally did make it, I do think that I do have this one video from on the course. I forgot about this. This is the only video I have on the course. You did make it. It was a popular thing to slide down this hill, and I gotta say, you did not spill your beer like a pro. Here we go.
You don't stop.
Just one more time.
You don't stop.
Got the shirt on. Just don't spill the beer, baby, and get down that hill however you can safely. You know, that was key. Safety was key.
Yeah.
Safety is very important. Okay, then let's see. I mean, there's just so much here. Our buddy Carl Paulson, you know, of Inside the Ropes Radio. Yeah. Carl Paulson was a buddy of ours. We met him and his wife down there. We had dinner with them, and I'll never forget. We ate at this lovely. Actually, it was an Italian restaurant.
It was fantastic. You remember the way they had this big, huge cauldron of Parmesan, and they shaved
I just remember that. It was
shaved this it was like it was a cauldron it looked like a something they put holy water in. I mean,
it was massive, and it was all Parmesan. Yes, I do remember that now. I forgot about that, but it was this amazing Italian restaurant that had been recommended to us. It was late at night, and but I do remember that he ordered these appetizers that were liquor soaked. They were liquor soaked. It was bread.
Yes.
It was some sort of a bread, but it was liquor. It was soaked in liquor. And you put it in your mouth and you immediately, it was like a burst of something. I don't remember what it was.
Rum. I think
yes.
Rum.
Yes, you're right. It was rum. But they looked like little baby
Twinkies.
Well, here you go. There's Carl.
Okay, well, they looked a little more different than Twinkies. But they were damn good. But
extremely phallic, but delicious. You know what I mean? So there's Carl. He's a happy guy. So I thought that was funny. Now, this moment here, Pat. Well, maybe I should
feel like I know where we're going.
Maybe I should save that one. Okay, no. Let me hit a little smaller thing here. This was funny. We would always, you know, when we were ready to go out for the night, Pat could not leave the hotel. Well, we stayed in an apartment with a tiny little French elevator. And Pat could not get down the elevator without his water bottle full of, here we go. We're in a French elevator. Pat's got a glass of rosé and a water bottle. Oh, hold on, sorry. And then later that night when the rosé bottle is all gone. Here we go. We're in a French elevator. Pat's got a glass of rosé and a water bottle. Oh my! I mean, I just had so much fun going through these videos. But yes, the rosé was always a part of the evening.
Kistler, that wasn't a one hitter, by the way. That was just like it caught me near the end of that.
Yeah, that was near the end. And right after that, I remember I didn't put this in the video, but I may as well have. What are we doing? I should have just put it in there. But right after the elevator video, you turn around and you're laughing, and you're reading what the elevator says. And do you remember what you said?
No shit. I mean, who knows?
The funniest part of Paris is hearing Pat try to pronounce French words. It's just the best. We're gonna get to that in just a second. But
I knew where that was going.
Is hearing Pat try to pronounce French words. Yeah. And I think the word in French. Let me look it up. French. Yeah, I think it was I think it was on the elevator, but all you said is means like to push, and it's spelled Pousse. and you said, "Oh, pussy." Pussy. And then you just busted out laughing at yourself. I actually cut that. I should have just
Yeah, you probably should.
I should have just done it. All right. And then another funny video. Oh no. Well, let's see. Should I get to a video? Okay. This was funny. This is really funny to me. And this is probably one of those moments where you have to be there. And if it is, oh well. The very last night in Paris, we were eating at this lovely restaurant. My wife is there. Pat's wife is there. I can literally remember exactly what it looks like. The bottle of wine.
So this is the last night.
The
Like
very
we're about
last
to
night.
leave on a plane the next day. Okay,
Yep.
and there's
My wife and I ordered a bottle of red, and it, to this day, is the best bottle of red wine that I've ever tasted in my life. I have the bottle. We brought the bottle home. It's absolutely amazing. I can taste it almost now. But like a lot of French restaurants, you are sitting right on top of the next table. Like people are right next to you.
I remember this.
And I don't know what happened on that night, but something got in Pat's nose.
Apparently,
And-
now this is really foreshadowing to
Yes.
the age we live in now, because you would have never
No,
expected to hear this in America.
this is October of 2018, years after our report.
2018. So
Yeah.
think about that. Before 2020.
Yeah. Now we're losing live viewers, which I don't know. I can't imagine people would jump off at this point. I don't even understand. But anyway, it's 2018, and Pat gets something in his sinuses, in his nose, and he is sneezing and coughing, and sneezing and coughing, and he's being polite. I mean, he's covering himself up, but it's getting to a point where it's like, God dang it, dude! Like, are you okay? You need to go somewhere. Like, it was bad. It was
Have bad allergies.
He had a sneezing fit, and the people sitting next to us was a young lady, or maybe not a young lady, maybe in her 50s. And her mother looked like the crypt keeper. You know, she
really did.
She was on the way out.
She was on.
This lady
She
looked
may
like,
not be with us right now. I hope she is. I hope she is.
I would be surprised. If anyone at the restaurant should be on their way out or concerned for their health, it was this woman, not Pat. But because of Pat's sneezing fit, all I look over and see is this lady and her younger daughter, laughing and looking at us. And they're like 4 feet. I mean, they literally touch the people because they're that close in the restaurant. And I asked the woman, the younger lady, I'm like, what? And I'm like, what? Are you guys laughing at us? Because they're looking at us, laughing. And she says, yes. And I said, what are you laughing at? And she said, my mom. She spoke English. And she said, my mom. And I said, what did she say? And she said, well, she asked about him. She said, is he even vaccinated? And this is the woman. I took a picture of the old lady. This is the woman that was concerned for Pat's health and asked if he was vaccinated. And that just killed me. I was dead. I was dying laughing at that. I thought that was one of the funniest things ever. All right. That one we probably had to be there. All right. This is a good story. You know, Pat is not known to be the content king. Okay. Pat doesn't do a lot of content. He doesn't post on Instagram ever, literally ever. Maybe you might get a story out of him. Maybe. He rarely tweets. If he does, it's like, you know, some college football tweet, or he's triggered, or it's late at night and he's hammered. Rarely tweets. Rarely comes up with any real creative idea. You know, I just got to be honest, Pat. You know it.
Yeah. No, okay. All right.
But we had a routine. We would go to dinner late, and we would, as we were walking home to our apartment, there was this nice little cafe that we went to probably every night, and they stayed open late. And we would have an Irish coffee or a glass of wine or something to kind of nightcap it. It was literally a block from our apartment, and we would sit out there till sometimes midnight and just kind of sit outside on the street, talk about the day, have a good time. and I am leaning up against this window. And a popular beverage in Paris is Orangina,
Oh yeah,
which is a delightful beverage. In fact, it's in my local Publix. It's got a lot of
They
sugar in it.
just started. I think they just started carrying it in Publix. It may be.
Okay.
Maybe I just noticed it recently.
Also, thank you to Nathan. He confirms that is not a story you have to be there. That's hysterical about the old lady and the vaccination. Well, thank you. So we're sitting at this cafe late at night, and I'm on my phone, I guess, and I'm sitting next to this window, the outside window of this restaurant, with an Orangina advertisement on the window. Lovely drink, really good with vodka. Actually,
It's actually good with champagne too in the mornings.
Yes, that it's a great drink. I mean, if you have it in your local Publix, it's usually, I think it's actually in like the Hispanic foods section. But Orangina, very good drink. I'm sitting there and I'm on my phone, and like out of the corner of my eye, I see Pat with his phone up, and normally his phone is down. He's always on his phone. His phone is up and it's kind of aimed at me, and he is laughing harder than he has laughed the entire trip. And Moose and Mara are there, and Kristen's there, Sally's there. They're doing their own thing. Pat is in his own world, and I just see him like this, like aimed at me and laughing harder than he's laughed the whole trip. And I'm like, I can see the synapses firing in his little non-creative brain, and I'm like, what are you laughing at? And he's like, hold on. And he's just wait. And I think he had to ask for help to figure out how to.
I think I might have had to ask for.
But what's brilliant is like you saw it first in your mind's eye, and you took the picture of me, and then you had help and you made it reality. And here's what it was: you saw me sitting in front of that Orangina sign, but my fat, overweight head was covering up the first half, and you substituted some letters to make this. The single greatest creative moment in the 6-year history of Tour Junkies from Pat Perry is literally this picture. It is the funniest thing you have ever done. To this day, it's the funniest thing you've ever done.
I agree. I don't think I've come up with anything more funny than that. But when it hit me, I couldn't stop laughing because it was right there. It was right there in front of me, and it was like I was just so glad that I didn't miss. I didn't miss out on the opportunity. I needed to make it happen, and I did.
AC's in the chat. He's oh my God, this is I laughed so hard at that. Y'all, I'm not kidding you. This is not hyperbole. In 6 years, that is the funniest thing Pat has ever come up with in terms of photographic or video content, That's the funniest thing he's ever come up with, at my expense, of course. And I can't say it over the audio, so that's why we cut it out. But I mean, if that's not great, I just don't know what is. I have one more video, and then I'm done.
I feel like if you don't show the video that I feel like you're going to show,
I have one more video.
What are we even doing here if you're not going to show this?
But honestly, I think I should have ended with what we just showed. I think I should have ended with that picture because I think that one's going to be funnier. This one is another one of those you maybe had to be there. But again, going back to if you're a listener of the Tour Junkies show and you've been listening for like 6 months, like Pat is a character. Pat's a caricature. He's an interesting guy. He says weird stuff. He does weird stuff. But having that guy in Paris trying to speak French and trying to say French words and trying to pronounce things, it was the funniest part of the whole trip. It was an every minute occurrence. It was a thing that
what makes me so mad about this is how much I really actually practiced internally some of this stuff, and it still didn't work.
I met Pat at the airport in Atlanta the night we were going to leave, and you tell me with a straight face, I don't even know what we're talking about, and you tell me with a straight face. So that I've studied a statement that apparently Parisians really take well to, and that is that is you basically say in French, I'm sorry, I don't speak English.
I don't speak French.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't speak French. And then what was the last part? I don't remember. It was.
It was a very polite way
It
to
was
say.
very. You had researched a polite thing to say to open up.
Somebody emailed us. Actually, it was somebody that emailed
Okay.
us. A very learned person emailed us, and they said, if you can just learn this statement that was literally like 3 lines.
Yeah.
It'll go a long way in Paris. And I couldn't get it right. And then we got it emailed to us like 3 weeks before we left. And you're about to hear me trying to actually.
But you tell it to me in the airport in Atlanta on the way to Paris, and you tell it to me not in jest, but you tell it to me like an egomaniac. You look at me like, hey, F you, man. I've learned this secret phrase. And apparently word on the street is if you open up a conversation with a Parisian like this, a very humble, I'm sorry, I'm a dumb American. I don't speak French. Can you help me out? They are more open to speaking English with you. Most people know English, but they may not be open to speaking it to you and helping you. And you had learned this phrase and you had just told me like, I'm a genius. You're a dummy. I'm about to own Paris because of this phrase. I'm going to open up the Parisians to speak English to us, to communicate to us, to help us navigate Paris. And in this video, yes, you're going to hear that, but you're also going to hear other things. But the way, do you remember the phrase? I wonder, can you say it? Do you remember it?
I just want to say it's something like Je suis désolé something. That's all I remember.
Yes.
It's like je suis désolé, je ne parle français or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, something like that. What's funny too is like my wife is great. Like my wife speaks really good Spanish. She's not fluent, but she's really close. And she can pronounce Spanish things like very well. I'm not as good at that. But and I thought we would go to Paris and my wife would be great at doing the same thing in French, and she was not. She was terrible. She was not as bad as you.
No,
but when we would talk to a Parisian and they would say stuff and they would help us, and then we would say, well, how do you say that and how do you pronounce that? And they would do it. She couldn't do it. I could actually do it. Like I was actually good at pronunciation. I didn't know what I was saying, or I couldn't read it, but I could pronounce it. This is a video where we're at the Eiffel Tower and we were trying to get our Uber driver to locate us. And Pat, this is a compilation. I edited this. Pat is on the phone with the Uber driver, trying to let him know where we are and trying to get him to us. And so you can hear me egging him on, Kristen, Sally laughing. This is one of my favorite videos, and it's just funny. Here we go.
Corner Odele du Pontiana. Oui. They désolé.
Let me get it for you.
Je suis désolé, je ne parle pas français.
What?
I'm sorry, but
Raising hand. Raising hand.
Still makes me laugh so hard. Raising hands. Raising hands.
Why I thought raising hands would be
raising hand. That's got to be a universal a universal phrase.
We need to make that worldwide, where like everybody that says raising hand, like everybody in the world knows what that means.
I like the concerned, like worried. Je suis la Pontiana. What the fuck is Pontiana? What is that? I'm gonna play it one more time. I just want to play it one more time.
Corner Odele du Pontiana. Oui. Je désolé.
Let me get it for you.
Je suis désolé, je ne parle pas français.
What?
I'm sorry, but
Raising hand. Raising hand.
You tried to hit your Je suis désolé, then you butchered the second part. You said, Je suis désolé.
Oh my gosh. I don't even know why raising hand came to mind. Like he's gonna understand what raising hand means.
Daniel Badeup, did the Uber driver ever find you?
Yes,
No, we're here today because that Uber driver freaking figured out what the Pat was saying. Yeah. Oh God. Oh. Yeah. Nate Cunningham. You nailed the we.
That's a good. Yeah, I agree, Nathan.
Nailed that.
I'm good at that one. I can get
Oh.
that one. Golly, what a
all-
great though. I tell you what, that trip was fantastic.
It was
Paris
the best trip of my life.
Paris was just awesome. Outside of the Ryder Cup itself, it was a great trip. And we're not doing, it's funny because my wife the other day when I mentioned the Ryder Cup was this week, she was like, why aren't y'all in Wisconsin for that? And I was like, well, we just decided to take the year off, but we will be in Italy. That is the plan, is to be in Italy, which would be, we could have even some better stories in Italy.
I think Italian Pat would be great. Listen, the plan is to be in Italy, yes, as long as TJ keeps rocking and rolling, which we need your help to do. For those of you who are still with us, my God, we're 2 hours.
You want some more experiences like that?
Yeah.
Come on, help us out. We want to be in Italy. We're
going to be in Italy. If you're going to be in Italy, let us know. We're planning on bringing a group down there and having a good time. But stuff like this, if we ever are able to pull off this TJ annual listener event, or if you can, if you win the Nut Hut Listener League and you can have a night with me and Pat or a couple nights, this is the kind of stuff you're privy to. So it's good stuff. Thanks for sticking around. Recapping the Ryder Cup is so much fun for us. We've had 2 great experiences at it. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch it this year, even from the couch. It's going to be fun to watch. We hope you guys enjoy it and have a great week. Leave a comment if you're watching on YouTube. That would help us out. We appreciate it. And check out the tourjunkies.com blog on Ryder Cup Addiction. Help you out. Pat, you got anything else?
No, that's it. I appreciate everybody's support. Ready for a big week. Go USA. I'm hoping for a big win this week.
Yeah, there we go. Have a great week. We'll be back next week for the Sanderson. See you.